People who grew up in the 1970s carry a psychology that feels impossible to reproduce today. It's a mindset shaped by freedom that looked like danger, responsibility that arrived too early, and a world that trusted kids more than technology. If you want to understand their minds, you have to understand the world that raised them. In the 70s, childhood didn't come with supervision, it came with space. If you disappeared for 6 hours, no one panicked. You didn't text your parents. You didn't share your location. You had a bike, a few friends, and instincts that developed fast. Psychologists today call this autonomy conditioning, the brain adapting to independence through real, unprotected experience. That's why people from that era still have a calm inner voice that says, "I'll handle it," even when they have no plan. But here's the deeper layer. The parents of the 70s kids were shaped by war, scarcity, and discipline. They didn't talk about stress, they lived through it. They didn't explain resilience, they modeled it. And without even knowing, they passed down a quiet emotional toughness. Modern psychology calls this observational resilience, strength learned by watching others endure. It's why 70s kids matured earlier without noticing it. Their world demanded competence. If something broke, you repaired it. If something went wrong, you adapted. If life felt unfair, you dealt with it. There was no YouTube tutorial, no online guide, no instant answers. You became the solution. That's why people from that era still feel older than their age, not physically, but mentally. And the environment around them reinforced it. Neighbors actually knew each other. Community wasn't something you posted, it was something you depended on. Adults didn't brag about hard work, they just did it. Kids absorbed this as normal. To them, responsibility wasn't punishment. It was part of being alive. Now compare that to the post-2000 generation, raised with screens, constant stimulation, infinite information, and zero silence. Their brains never fully rest. Their self-worth is tied to comparison. Their attention is split into fragments. They're creative and intelligent, but also overwhelmed in ways the human mind was never designed for. Not because they're weaker, but because the world is louder. People from the 70s were the bridge, 1 foot in the slow, analog world, and 1 foot witnessing the hyper-digital world rise around them. They understand life before noise and life after it. That perspective gives them a groundedness many younger people say they miss but never experienced. Talk to someone from that era and you feel it instantly. They're not trying to impress you. They don't rush to fill silence. Their confidence comes from having lived through a childhood that required self-reliance, emotional control, and adaptation. They grew strength not by being told to be strong, but by being tested young. So here's the real question. Which world creates better humans, one that protects you, or one that forces you to grow? And more importantly, which generation shaped the person you are today? Tell me in the comments. Are you from before 1980 or after it? And what's one memory from your childhood that still shapes who you are today? If this hit home for you, don't just scroll away. Hit subscribe, because we break down human psychology every day, in ways most people live their entire life without noticing.